Even though I named this video London on Film, I mostly did so for the algorithm, but realistically, Aly and I went to multiple places across southern England and even a day in Paris. And it was awesome, no doubt. But I did try something new on this trip that I would have never done in the past, considering a trip of this magnitude and what it meant to us. And that was to shoot 35mm film compared to shooting all of the digital that I probably could have instead. But I will say maybe this feels like more of a risk today than it would have 20 or even 30 years ago, when people were using film photography as the only option because it was readily available, because it was more affordable. Essentially, film was much more of an option to enjoy more frames and feel the fear of messing up a lot less. This is compared to film photographers today who probably consider frames much more seriously. We tend to focus much more heavily purely because each frame costs so much more than it did, so we tend to focus more and actually capture physically less with every frame we shoot. And though I do agree, and I usually find all the previous sentiments true, I must also say that it is nerve-wracking, at least in my opinion, knowing that these film photos mean so much to me because of the trip we're going on, what it means for Allison and I, and the fact that there's a lot of process between shooting them, developing them, and actually getting them scanned and back to me. You know, the whole process, there's just a lot that can go wrong with it. And it is a little bit nerve-wracking, and that's kind of where this video idea came from, is that you will feel that in a lot of ways, or at least I definitely did.
Just to help other guests get on, this is totally normal.
But now that we're on the opposite side of the experience, I can honestly say it was worth it to have all of these photos, to be able to capture all these memories on film means so much more to me than I thought it honestly would. Probably not because these photos are the most spectacular photos I've ever taken, because let's face it, we went to some of the most trafficked areas in the entire world, so to get a truly unique perspective or a photo that no one has ever seen before in some of these areas would be virtually impossible. So we have to keep that in mind, but overall they're just amazing photos for anything that I would want in a kind of photography travel trip of any kind. Nevertheless, though, I think the point of this video is risk versus reward, and understanding that risk is going to be there, and hopefully in your case, as it was in mine, that the reward is outweighed by the risk you're going to have to take, especially if it's a bigger event and you're going to take a film camera to capture these moments. But as for me, these are not just photos to be photos in themselves, but they're also proof to indicate that sometimes when it comes to the risk of film photography, it can definitely be worth it.